All right, so good morning, everyone. My name is Dorothy Gilliam. I'm an air quality planner here at the North Central Texas Council of Governments, and I work in the transportation department, but specifically on our air quality team. And welcome to the Texas State Energy Conservation Office Programs and No Cost Resources webinar. This is the second webinar of a 2-year project that we have with the Texas State Energy Conservation Office. This is the third iteration, technically, of this type of energy manager project that we've been working on with SECO. And we're very excited to have SECO here today, as well as TZ and ESA, to kind of talk about the SECO programs and the no-cost technical assistance and preliminary energy assessments that they offer. Awesome. All right, so just a quick little rundown of what we're going to cover today. I'm going to talk about who we are as the COG, the North Central Texas COG, and why you all are here today, why we are here today, and some of the energy management resources that we've kind of developed over the past couple of years as we've dove into this space of energy management in our region. And then we will go ahead and kind of dive into the SECO programs and resources, and I will kick it off with TZ, the Texas Energy Engineering Services, and Energy Systems Associates, ESA, and then also, of course, SECO. And we've got some great SECO staff here today to talk about a lot of really wonderful programs that we would love, not only our region and local governments and entities, state agencies, all the entities in our region to take advantage of, but entities, of course, throughout the state. So wonderful. All right. So I'm sure many of you all know who we are. And if you don't, that's totally fine. We are the North Central Texas Council of Governments, and we are one of 24 COGs in Texas. We were established back in 1966, and we serve as, well, we are a voluntary association of local governments, and we kind of wear many hats, us as COG staff, but truly, or what it boils down to is us at COG, we help local governments in planning for a bunch of variety of different needs, recognizing where there's regional opportunities to take advantage of, cooperating with our state and local governments, and resolving regional programs and helping to make joint decisions. So we do a lot of really great stuff at the COG, and specifically in the transportation department. We work on a lot of different programs, which I think many of you all, just looking at our participant list, many of you all are familiar with, but very, a lot of fun stuff. All right, so as part of our energy management efforts and our regional energy management activities, so we've been working on this project specifically with SECO for fiscal years 2021 and 2022, but we really started our energy manager work back in 2019. And so our regional energy manager project that we have going on, it's an ongoing project, is a partnership between our transportation department and our environment and development department here at COG. And it is an ongoing effort to kind of identify where the energy management needs are within our region, increase awareness to a variety of resources and energy management programs, but also specifically targeting the local government energy reporting requirements, which I think we will have some SECO staff touch on later in our webinar. And also we want to be able to serve as a resource to assist our local governments in any way that we can related to energy management, energy conservation, energy efficiency. So this slide specifically is talking about what we have in the works for fiscal years 2021, which has since passed, but moving into fiscal year 2022. We have developed a regional survey, and we're doing a lot of work related to codes and engaging our electric utilities and providing some data collection there. But today we're really focusing on these ones in green that are highlighted on the screen. So this webinar is serving as our second of 4 webinars or trainings and workshops that we are hosting as part of this project. So that's why that's highlighted, as well as highlighting some of our available resources on our websites. So that's why that's highlighted. And lastly, we want this webinar to serve as an opportunity, a learning opportunity for our local governments to be a little bit more engaged in what's out there related to energy efficiency, energy management resources. And that's why we've brought in SECO and TZ and ESA here to kind of talk about ways that local governments can take advantage of programs that are out there that are no cost to you all. So very excited about that. And also very excited to share, many of you may be very familiar with some of our trainings and webinars that we host. And since the onset of COVID, these have been all virtual, but we've definitely hosted a fair share of in-person trainings. So some of our virtual trainings and webinars are here on the slide. I won't go into too much detail, but we've hosted a whole slew of things related to renewable natural gas, PACE, SolSmart, and also recently we held an electric utility and electric vehicle working group. So all of these can be found, all the recordings and meeting materials can be found on our Conserve North Texas website, which is linked here. And I will just make a side note that the presentations today, and this webinar is being recorded, but the presentations today will also be posted on our Conserve North Texas website, and I will also send them out to you all post-webinar. So I know that's kind of hard not to, you can't click the slides as I go through them. So I understand that that's kind of a struggle. So I'm also more than happy to post the link in the chat, just if you all are curious and want to kind of peruse throughout the webinar what we have posted on our website. So awesome, and then kind of wrapping things up, we just wanted to make sure you all were aware of some of the websites that we have that we post information to, and have a lot of different best practices, toolkits, white papers that we've developed posted. So our Conserve North Texas website is really dedicated to water resources, energy, our energy management work, and energy efficiency related topics are posted on this website, as well as some transportation related topics. So that's Conserve North Texas. It's kind of a clearinghouse, we like to say. We like to post anything and everything to that website that is related to those 3 topic areas. And then our Go Solar Texas website, as the name indicates, is fully dedicated to all things solar. This was developed, I believe, back in 2016, and we are looking to kind of give it a nice renovation, hopefully in the next couple of years. And as we are moving on, a lot, solar has advanced so much in the past couple of years, trying to make sure that everything on the website stays up to date. But it has a lot of really great resources and a lot of really good work that went into developing that website. And workshops and trainings are posted there, a lot of best practice guides. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. And last but not least, our Clean Cities website. This is fully dedicated to topics related to alternative fuel vehicles. So we also, as staff at the COG and in the transportation department, we also wear the hat of the Dallas-Fort Worth Clean Cities Coalition, and we are staff at our Clean Cities Coalition as well. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about electric vehicles or any other alternative fuel vehicles, this website is definitely for you. And then I will also post this in the chat because you are not able to see the link here. But if you're wanting to sign up for our email list or our listserv and learn a little bit more about the upcoming trainings that we plan to host in the next couple of months, and any other, we send out a bunch of great newsletters every month and information related to opportunities in the region. So I'm happy to post that in the chat as well if you are not already signed up. So awesome. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. But if you have any questions, my contact information is on the slide. Again, my name is Dorothy Gilliam, as well as our 2 program managers who are the program managers on this project as well. So Lori Clark and Tamara Cook. Any questions, feel free to funnel them to us. We're more than happy to help as we can. All right, so I will stop there and I'm going to go ahead and pull up our next presentation. So I'm going to hand it on over to Celine Khan. And I know Jim Brown's not here today, but we have Chris Carter subbing in for Jim Brown with ESA. And so we're going to have them talk about the preliminary energy assessment and technical assistance that both of their agencies implement as part of SECO's, these are SECO programs, but that they are contracted out to do the actual work. So we get to kind of hear about the ins and outs of these two programs. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you, Celine, to kind of kick it off. And I will advance the slide. You just tell me when, and I will take care of it.
All right. Thank you, Dorothy. This is Salim Khan. I'm with the Texas Energy Engineering Services, also known as TZ Engineering. And we are one of the engineering partners with SECO that deliver this preliminary energy assessment and technical assistance services throughout the state of Texas. I think there are more detailed information on various programs that SECO will be outlining in the presentation following this presentation. The goal over here is to give you all a quick overview of the preliminary energy assessment program that SECO offers. And we also do a deep dive into this preliminary energy assessment process. But the goal today is to give you all a broad overview and answer some of the basic questions that people have. So it's a short presentation, and then I'll just go over various aspects of the program with you. So one of the questions usually asked from us is that who's paying for the preliminary energy assessment? So I wanted to make it clear that the preliminary energy assessment is available at no cost to the entities that request the service. The next question usually is asked is who's eligible for this service? Mostly the eligibility is for any taxing entity in Texas. So this could be cities and counties, independent school district, county hospitals, port authorities, major airports, public water authorities, municipal-owned utilities, and also not shown over here, but if there's a community college that's a taxing entity, then they are also eligible for that. So this is one of the fundamental questions that usually people have: who's paying for it, and are we eligible? So SECO pays for this. It's at no cost to any of the public entity that requests this service. We do have some limitations on how much we can do. For example, if you have many facilities, then what we do in this program is that we sit with you, discuss which facilities and prioritize those facilities because of the limited funds that we have, and we have to distribute these funds among all the entities across the Texas. So we cannot reach every facility that you have, but we can surely address the high priority facilities, and then usually it's very helpful in that regard. So one of the things that I like to go over is that, the utility cost reduction measures can be of various paybacks, right? They can be immediate payback, or they could be 20, 25-year payback. Facilities typically have interior lighting retrofits, low cost, no cost measures, HVAC retrofits, commissioning opportunities, water conservation, renewable opportunities, energy management control system upgrades, building envelope improvements, water facilities, water and wastewater facilities have got various measures also. So what you will find is that the payback ranges from anything from zero immediate payback to all the way to 25 years. So the question is that if there is a tool out there that can help screen these things out, that will be beneficial to the end user and to the owner, basically. So for this purposes, I think the PEA serves this purpose, in which it could answer your very fundamental question. It will help you screen your energy cost reduction measures, prioritize them, give you all an estimated cost, estimated savings, and a payback range. That way you all have the basic information to decide what to do next. So the purpose of this PEA primarily is to identify these measures, give it some values, and then help identify how they can be implemented. So for example, why are different paybacks over there? So HVAC, I'll just give you one example over here. If you have an HVAC retrofit, sometimes it might be easier to access that facility, so it will cost less to do that retrofit. But sometimes it might be on the second floor, third floor, or the fifth floor, And in order to reach to that piece of equipment and to retrofit that piece of equipment, it usually costs more. So when we are doing PEA, we take all those things into consideration. When we do a cost estimation for it, we take those considerations, and that's why you have different paybacks. One of the reasons why you have different paybacks. So PEA can help you with identifying and prioritizing this thing. The PEA process and summary. So wanted to give you all a quick overview of what is involved in the PEA process. So there are almost 5 steps over here. First is to gather basic data. The second step is to do an on-site survey. The third step is to do analysis. Fourth step is to do a PEA report. And the fifth step in the process is to do the presentation. From the entity point of view, people who are requesting this service, primarily we need a little bit of assistance in getting the utility data and then having someone available to assist with an on-site survey. Typically, the on-site survey will take a day or two. Mostly it's done in one day, but if there are a number of facilities and they're spread apart, so it might take 2 days. So when we do the basic utility data, we need the square footages, we need the utility data, and if you all have an energy management plan, we like to review that. In the second step, once we have done the basic utility data gathering, we like to do a site walkthrough. In this process, an engineer will walk the sites with you all and then identify low cost, no cost measures, and also look at the utility cost reduction measures and identify those. So step 1 and step 2, when those are done, the next step in the process is for the engineer to do an analysis of the data received. So we develop energy performance indices and energy cost indices for each facility. We quantify UCRMs, provide estimated cost and savings for those. Once that analysis is done, the next step in the process is to develop a PEA report. So one of the outcome of this service is that you will have a written report signed and sealed by an engineer that basically identifies your baseline energy use, identifies potential operation and maintenance measures, O&M measures, and also identifies utility cost reduction measures with estimated cost savings and payback. One other useful information in this report is that it will outline possible funding options for you all. So that's all covered in the report. The fifth step in the process is that once the report is done, it's delivered, then we go over the report, answer any questions, and provide recommendations for action items that are outlined in the report. So it is a process that may take anywhere from 6 weeks to 90 days. So typically a PEA will take anywhere from 6 weeks to 90 days, depending on the utility data information we got, and mostly scheduling site visits and doing the analysis. So that's the overall PEA process or overall steps that are involved in the PEA process. It is minimum invasive to the end users. We are aware that everyone has got other things to do. So we just request that we just be provided access, and sometimes we might ask for some basic information if you got any existing plans and so forth that we can review ahead of time. It makes it easier to do the on-site analysis. A lot of entities nowadays have given us access to a VPN, virtual private network, that we are able to actually log into the control systems or building automation systems and then quickly review how it's operating and what the set points are, which kind of helps with the on-site assessments. So overall, anywhere from 6 weeks to 90 days is the entire process. But the most important thing is that you have to request this service, and usually there is a one-page service request that SECO has on their website, and I'll cover that in a little minute. But anyways, this is the overview of the PEA process. Next slide, please. So very important, what are the benefits of PEA? it is really a valuable planning tool. It has helped entities with budgeting, forecasting, and funding options, evaluating funding options. Some of the entities have used the PEA to apply for Lone Star applications. So if you have some of the screening and the cost estimates and the UCRM analysis done, you can literally take that information and apply for the Lone Star program that SECO will cover later on. Very useful program. It also helps development of the baseline. So in this process, any facility that we have done a survey on, you will have a baseline energy use for that facility and energy cost for that facility, which can be used for tracking purposes going forward. So all that data is usually entered by us, and the baseline is done so that you all could track it in the future. Very important, it prioritizing of investments. So as I mentioned that there are various opportunities, but there are limited funding sources for these opportunities. So basically the PEA will help you identify the estimated cost, the estimated savings, and the paybacks for various measures that would possibly make sense for you all to look into. So this is very important and useful information that could be used. It also identifies low cost, no cost measures. And what was meant by that is when the engineer is doing a quick walkthrough, we might find a few things, simple things that we could recommend that could give you immediate savings, basically. So that's kind of covered in the PEA process. Some of the entities have requested they have been to do Energy Star certifications, do an energy management plan reviews, and also provide some energy efficiency design guidelines. So as part of this SECO local government and technical assistance program, all those technical assistance, and there are a few other examples also, but we can on case-by-case basis, look into those technical assistance measures and see what we can help with. We have helped a lot of facilities with Energy Star certifications, so that's a good thing to know. And all the data and everything is entered by us, and the engineer certification is done for those facilities. We review the energy management plans. If you have one, if you don't have an existing energy management plan, under this program, we can give you a guide energy management plan that could be further developed for your specific facility. And also from time to time, we are requested to look into energy efficiency design guidelines for new construction or renovation facilities. So we have provided input in those areas also. Occasionally, we will come into a situation in which an owner has a specific area that they have had issues with comfort, or they have issues with the not maintaining the temperatures from HVAC point of view. In that case, we do a limited analysis. We sometimes will apply data loggers or use your energy management control system to do a quick overview and analysis, and that has helped quite a few people also. So those are the technical assistance examples over there. Now, very importantly, once you have a PEA done, you have a roadmap to utility cost savings. So you have a very good roadmap in which it gives you a broad overview of what the potentials are, what the estimated costs are, what the paybacks are, and how you can prioritize those things, and also discuss what are the various funding options. And in the next case studies, I'll give you some examples of how entities have used the PEA and then to their advantage. Next slide. Case studies. Okay, so very broad overview I'll give you, and then a very specific example. So people who have participated in this program, there are many across the state, but City of Austin, City of Laredo, City of El Paso, City of San Marcos, Arlington ISD, Dallas Community College District, Alamo Colleges, San Antonio ISD, and many more have participated in this program. So just give you an example, the City of Austin did the analysis, requested the PEA to be done. And it so happened that when we finished the PEA, 2-3 months after that, there were some grants that became available, and they used part of the PEA to actually apply for those grants. So they became very useful for them, basically. The City of Laredo, and I'll go into more detail on that one, the City of El Paso in the past 10, 15 years has done numerous energy efficiency projects funded through Lone Star, through performance contracting, and so forth. In this program, in the last 4 years, they have requested a number of their facilities to be evaluated, and currently they are in the process of having future projects for energy efficiency, and it's all in the budgeting process, so forth. So the information provided to them was very useful as they are looking into the future budgets and future projects, and they have a strong sustainability goals, and they are integrating the energy efficiency projects into their long-term and short-term sustainability goals. The city of San Marcos had applied for a PEA service. The PEA was done. It so happened that soon after that, the DOE grants under the stimulus program were become available. And they requested an investment grade audit, basically. An investment grade audit was done, and soon after that, they were able to utilize the Lone Star funds and also some of the DOE block grant funds to implement some of those projects. The Arlington ISD up in Dallas, Fort Worth area, they in the past couple of years had requested service so they could do the Energy Star certifications. And we have certified over 40 of their facilities in the last couple of years, basically for Energy Star certification and recognition. Dallas Community College had requested a couple of years ago a PEA, a detailed PEA was done, and some of the information I understand being used for further development of the projects. Alamo colleges had done PEAs. They have implemented almost $11 million of projects through Lone Star funds over the years. And this is another example in which they had done initial PEA, then did investment grade audit, and then became eligible for the DOE block grants and the Lone Star funds over there, that they used all those funding sources to implement those projects. San Antonio ISD have done over the years numerous projects, basically PEA projects, and they incorporated some of that information in their bond funding, and they are implementing those projects as we speak, basically, based on availability of their funds. The city of Laredo is another example that back in the 2010, 2012 timeframe, they were able to get some block grant and did an energy efficiency project, HVAC upgrade at their one of their hospital facilities over there. But later on, they had requested that we do a PEA for their utilities department. So they specifically requested a utilities department PEA. We did the PEA, identified numerous projects over there. I think the total value of those projects was over 5 to 7 million. Some of those projects are in their planning phases with other funding sources, but one of the projects that they wanted to implement was at the City of Laredo Jefferson Water Treatment Plant, in which they wanted to look at energy efficiency. And I'll explain to you that we did the energy efficiency project, but they had a huge side benefit as a result of this project, which is not incorporated in the cost saving, but that was a very, very good side benefit available to them. So very unique project. You can see in the photograph, this is what Jefferson Water Treatment Plant. They have a very high service VFDs, pumps, basically 600 horsepower. The size of these VFDs are the size of a room, basically. So under this project, we evaluated their high service pumps and looked into the possibility of implementing the variable frequency drive and integrating into their control SCADA system, basically, and also at the same time doing some power factor correction, which is one of the measures that helps them save some money on the utility side of it, and also look at the HVAC upgrade on the room where the VFDs will be. The implementation cost was $1 million. Energy savings were $159,000 with a simple payback of 6.5 years. But one of the side benefits that they had, which was identified in the PEA and also later in the investment grade audit also, was that they were able to stabilize their flows. So they had a lot of issues with the flows and over, and charging the tank and discharging of the tanks, which were located in various parts of the cities. But as a result of this project, they had a good success of stabilizing those flows and so forth, which was a side benefit, which is greatly appreciated. And they right now are looking into evaluating some of their own facilities, airports, and few others facilities that they're right now in the PEA process because of the success of the initial process. So this is an overall overview of the case studies, and I think possibly Chris may want to jump in, or I can finish this aspect of it. So this is the SECO website for the schools and local governments program. Technically, it's the same program, but has a slightly different application. It's a one-page application that you see on the screen on the right side over there. Very simple, no obligation. This is another thing that we have been asked, is that what are the obligations from the public entity that is applying for this service. So you can just see that there are only 3 or 4 items over there. Primarily, the goal over there is that although this is a free service, but we want you all to take a deep look into the recommendations, and then at least if you cannot immediately implement them, have some sort of a planning program or scheduling program that in the near future or in the future that you can look into implementation of those programs. So very simple one-page service request is to get all this process started. If you all have the websites are given over there, if you all have any questions, LaShawn is with SECO over there, and I'm with TZ, one of the engineers, contractor for this project. Please feel free to call. I think our contact information is already in there, and we'll be glad to answer any questions. Again, this presentation is a broad overview. We have presentations in which we take a deep dive into various forms of energy audits and various aspects of PEA and the type of projects. But the goal over here was to give you all a broad overview and just brief introduction to the program. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Salim. So I think before we jump into Chris, I think if we have some questions, I know, well, I see a question in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and Yarkis, I'm sorry, I just realized this was to me. If that's okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask this question. So do fleet electrification with renewable energy projects qualify as something as part of a preliminary energy assessment? I think is that your question, Yarkis? I hope I answered that correctly or asked that correctly.
Okay, so part of the PEA process is that almost everywhere we are kind of looking at renewable energy options over there. So we're looking at, for example, we have in the PEA process, we have evaluated solar thermal pool heating applications. We've also some PV applications. Very few places we have looked at the wind aspect of it. So the renewable energy aspect of it is looked at, and basically it's part of this process. However, that has to be discussed and the scope has to be outlined in the initial discussion with the entity so that we kind of have an idea as to what exactly we are looking into. Mostly the PEA process is looking into renewable energy efficiency application at the facility, basically. So not at the generation, mass generation level and so forth, but usually at the facilities and cost and energy savings associated with that application.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Salim. And then I just had a quick question. Is there a limit in the number of times an entity can apply for a PEA or the technical assistance?
Very good question. So usually we like to do, let me just give you an example, and it's kind of a little tricky over here, but not that tricky. Usually we would do a facility, and then every 2 years they can go and reapply. However, there are facilities, for example, entities that have applied for it, and they have like 40, let's say a school district has got 40 facilities, and we are able to get 10, 15 of them in the first round. Then after some time, after they've evaluated, given us some feedback on what they're doing with those programs, they have requested additional facilities, but if we are looking at the same facilities, it has to be normally a 2-year time frame, basically, before we can look at the same facilities again. But if they have some additional facilities, because the entity was too large, so sometimes we were able to accommodate that. But the goal over here is that we have limited funds, so we will spread that out as much as we can, and then look at what other, if we can help anybody, then we just look into that aspect of it.
That's great. No, thank you. That answers my question perfectly. Awesome. Thank you so much, Salim.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We do have one other question. What is too large? And so I think, Michelle, if I'm interpreting this correctly, yes.
That's a common. That's a good question, and a common question. So let me give you an example. If it is a, normally we look at the square footage. Okay, basically. So in the past, we have done up to 2 million square feet if it was a school district. If it is a city or a county facilities, then their facilities, usually we have limited them to 1 million square feet because they're usually spread apart, different parts and so on and so forth. But at the same time, if they have water and wastewater facilities, so we look at that aspect of it. So typically what we will do is we will have that conversation, and they might have a wish list, and then we will like to go over it and discuss it internally as to how much we can do. But I would say that anywhere from 1 million to 2 million square feet is typically what will be covered over here, depending on the entity over there. But very importantly, I'd like to stress that this program is not just for very large cities and school districts and colleges and so on and so forth. Many of the applicants over here are small cities, small school districts, and they are spread all over the place. So this level of the service that is provided to the small and large entities is exactly the same, and very helpful. So anyways, I hope that answers the question.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Salim. And I know there is a question related to if there is a list of what, if a PEA or preliminary energy assessment has been done for an entity, if there's a list of who has taken advantage of this program somewhere. And I know that we at the COG have curated a list, and I want to say it potentially includes statewide the PEAs that have been done, but I think it might just cover what entities in our region, in the North Texas region, have implemented a PEA, and we have that posted on our Conserve North Texas website. So I will post that in the chat. I think that's a great question to understand if maybe your entity has done a PEA, and if so, this is what we have the actual links to the preliminary energy assessment on our website. So I will post that in. Yes, I'll post that into the chat so everyone is aware of that. But yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Salim. Really great getting a little bit more detail into this program. And yes, if there are any questions or if you all are interested in this, we will, again, we'll post the links in the chat, but also this presentation we will send out so everyone has this available. So I'm going to go ahead and pass this on over to Chris Carter, who is, yes, and so not Jim Brown today, but Chris Carter subbing in for Jim. And I will go ahead and hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Chris Carter. I'm with ESA. We are also one of SECO's technical consultants, but our work focuses more on the Lone Star program than it does in the preliminary energy assessment program that Salim was talking about. And I just have a little one-slide quick presentation to show you. I guess I have a couple of slides. Basically how a program after Salim's PEA program is finished, how an entity would move on and have some other assistance from SECO in order to get the recommendations that are in those initial reports implemented. And the principal way that can be done is called the Lone Star program. And it's a low interest loan from the state of Texas that helps you get those projects implemented. You can borrow up to $8 million on a single loan. You have up to 15 years for the loan to pay back. And the interest rate would be 2% for a traditional loan. And you can go through an ARRA loan and have a 1% interest rate. The program is designed so that the energy savings from the projects that are implemented pay back the note. And the purpose of that is for entities to not have to tap into fund balance in order to pay for the project. It's very successful. The city of Port Lavaca, as shown on the slide there, was one of the cities that participated from the PEA program, which they had done in November of 18. And if you recall, Harvey had just come on shore right over their heads, barely a year before that. And so they knew that they wanted to attack their energy costs, but due to the expenses of Harvey and everything else that they were messing with, they didn't have a lot of fund balance that they wanted to be able to shift over to it. So the Lone Star program was a very effective program that allowed them to move ahead with their energy projects without having to tap into fund balance to do so. So you've seen the numbers on there. The Lone Star loan is originally, as it's shown on there, designed to be $530,000. Some of the HVAC projects at the last minute, you do have flexibility with the program, and that some of those HVAC projects were taken out. So basically this became primarily a lighting project, a little bit of control work, and they ended up only ultimately borrowing $225,000 to do the lighting project and the control work. The interior retrofits were getting their T8 and T12s and their CFLs to LEDs. And then the biggest bang for the buck that they accomplished was actually the exterior lighting project, where they did a parking lot at the Bauer Convention Center and got that to LED. In addition to fixing some damaged lights from the storm, they were also able to minimize the light pollution that was exiting that parking lot to the surrounding spaces. And so they were able to take care of a lot of different things with one project. The process of doing a Lone Star, and I don't want to steal thunder from the presentation that's following me, but after you have an initial assessment, and very frequently that's the PEA program that Salim talked about, you draft a utility assessment report, and the state of the SECO office reviews that and gives approval to that to move into the contracting phase. Port Lavaca did that in 2019. And then the projects were installed over the next year. And so by the first part of 2020, they had completed the installation of their project and the energy savings were paying back the note. That is about it for my little one slide.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Chris. If anyone does have any questions, I don't see any right now in the chat, but that was very short and sweet and very informative. So thank you so much. Wonderful. Okay. And if not, we will have some time for question and answer at the end. So any questions that you do have that maybe we didn't get to answer with Salim or Chris, we can just hold on to those and we can circle back. So wonderful. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our next portion of our webinar, which is hearing about the other additional programs that SECO offers and resources. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Eddie Trevino to provide a little bit of an introduction into these programs in SECO. So wonderful. Thanks, Eddie.
Hey, Dorothy, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you go back 2 slides?
Yes, absolutely. Let me do that. Yes.
There are instances where a local government or a K-12 school will not necessarily need the full range of services for a preliminary energy assessment. They may have a specific need, and you can see some of the common requests for those specific needs. One would be, should we install smart meters, within our buildings? And you can see, do we upgrade or not upgrade our HVAC or chiller? And it may be discrete needs, but the local government or school district just doesn't have the personnel to determine that. effectively or efficiently, or has to pay somebody else to help them find that answer. We also provide, we call it technical assistance requests. It's a similar form to the preliminary energy assessment form. And what a technical assistance request involves is if you have a specific need for looking at those common requests, what we can do is we can send, Salim or ESA to help you answer those questions. Let's say that you need answers to those questions. Again, you don't have the budget or funding or time, but you need those types of answers. We can help you with those types of answers too. So in addition to preliminary energy assessments, we also provide technical assistance on an as needed basis. All you have to do is fill out the form and submit it to us. One of the things that we ask with respect to preliminary energy assessments and technical assistance requests is that, you want to do something. We know everybody wants to make the environment better for the staff and for kids and for teachers. And so we know that when you make these requests, we're asking that you do something. And whether you do it with your own staff or whether you do it through the Lone Star program, or whether you take a step and use, part of a bond program that's in place to implement these measures or some of the measures. So we just don't want these preliminary energy assessments or these technical assistance requests to go on a bookshelf. We want something done. And so at the bottom of each one of those forms, we're asking that, you agree that, I think there's a checkbox at the bottom of the form that you agree to do something, whether it's with your own staff or other staff, so that we know you're serious about moving forward in the process. So that's my discussion on that one slide. We can go ahead and move forward to the next slide. There we go. And as you can see, we have a lot of areas that would be of interest to all of the participants. Not only is there the Lone Star Evolving Program, we have our technical assistance, and which we focused on today, which includes the preliminary energy assessments. We're also involved in energy codes. If you all are interested in setting up energy programs, energy efficiency programs within within your areas, we can help you in those areas. We're involved through K-12 schools with our Watt Watchers program. And then there's also another program of interest that will be discussed briefly in a couple of minutes, is also our Pantex program. I'm not going to go into detail because I want to take the thunder away from Denise, but we're going to go just round robin and give you just a high level overview of the other services we provide in just a second. I wanted to give you one other update before we transition there. If you can go to the next slide, is we recently had 4 RFAs that we issued. Many attendees submitted applications for those RFAs. The update is we're almost finished scoring those RFAs. And as soon as those scores are finished and last questions are answered, we are going to move forward in the selection process and notification process. So I appreciate your patience. It's coming soon. We're working as fast as we can, and we should have answers to those applicants probably by the middle of next week is what I'm thinking. And that's our goal for right now. All right. And so let's transition to an overview of the Lone Star program, and I'll let John take over from here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John. I joined SECO January 15th, so I'm the new guy on the block. Lone Star. I don't. Chris and Salim and Eddie have all mentioned Lone Star. They've already talked about the program already. So, but let me just give you a brief meaning of the program, or a brief history of the program. So what is Lone Star? We've heard a lot about Lone Star. So loan, we all know loan. but the STAR, the STAR actually means saving taxes and resources. So, as you go through the TA program and you go through the preliminary energy assessment, then, we hope that you use the Lone Star. It's one of our most popular programs, if not our flagship program, if I was still to show here. So that is a very important program, and as Chris mentioned, it's a very, very low interest loan, which we provide to assist state public schools, state offices, universities, public universities, colleges, nonprofit, municipal hospitals, etc. So those are the ones that we can assist with the Lone Star program. So it's a very low interest program, as was mentioned, 1%. If you go with the general fund, which can give you up to $1 million, $8 million, and then only 2% for the general fund program, and then 1% if you go with the ARRA, which is the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act 2000. If you go with that loan, that's only 1% on it. So it's a really, really program that will help you, identify the energy savings. And then because it's a revolving program, the energy savings that you make is what you use for the program. Let me give a quick example. So you take a $6 million Lone Star loan. You could see from one of the slides that Celine provided that if you take a $6 million loan and it's a 2% interest rate, that is what, $120,000. But if you look at that slide, Laredo was making a savings of almost $160,000. So if you are making a savings of $160,000 and you only have to pay $120,000, that is really, 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 really good loan that you could, really use. And a quick history of the program. The program started in 1988. And 1988 is when the program started, and it was funded initially using the petroleum violation escrow funds. Now today it is funded by DOE and some other funding that we have for the program. As of May 14, 2021, Lone Star has funded more than 325 loans. 325 loans, totaling more than $546 million. And the program has achieved a cumulative program energy savings of $711 million. So you could see how important that Lone Star program is. It's really, really important and very, very low cost. So please take advantage of that. Eligible voters, I won't go into details with it, but these are the Texas Code, Title 10 of the Texas Energy Code will give you all the eligible entities that qualify for the program. We already mentioned some of them, school districts, local government, nonprofits, state universities and colleges qualify for the program. And and the program, or just like any program, has some criteria, the criteria that you could use. All the energy savings projects that you do have to be in a facility which is owned by the entity that qualifies for the program. And then the projects that you do would have to be permanently affixed to that facility. You have to be within that facility that you do the program with. And then we have a third-party review. That is one great thing about this loan program. We just don't leave you alone. Once you qualify for it, we send one of our third-party engineer, which could be Jacobs Engineering in your area, in the North Texas area, or ESA or TZ, come out and then work with you as well, making sure that you get that energy savings. So we just don't leave you like that. We help you all along from the application stage all the way to the project stage, making sure that you make that savings so you could pay the loan back. Since 1988, we started a program. No one has defaulted on that program. So that tells you a great deal about the program. Next slide, please. Lone Star, you know, the last one that we put out ended August 31st. So we are getting ready to put out another one, which we hope by, you know, the beginning of October, that will be out there. So if you go on our website, please, you'll be able to sign up. And the next slide, please, will tell you. So please, if you are interested in this program, and I encourage everyone to look at the program. You go on our website, you will see Lone Star right there. Click on it, and it will take you to this page where you can sign up for the program to receive. So once we put the new one out in October, if you sign up, you get an email that, oh, the program is on there and you can apply for it. So this is a quick overview of the program, please. Our contacts will be available right at the end of this presentation. And so please feel free to contact me or Eddie or anyone in SECO, and we'll walk you through that program. Thank you so much. And I will leave for LeSean to continue from here.
Great. Thanks, John. Good morning, everyone. My name is LeSean Manus, and I'm a program manager with SECO. Dorothy has already mentioned the great benefits of or the efforts that NCTCOG has made towards the North Texas. And so what I wanted to do, go ahead, next slide, is just highlight the benefits of North Central Texas COG and working with them. So the relationship between NCTCOG and SECO is that NCTCOG works in collaboration with SECO to facilitate regionally focused energy management programs for North Texas. So with that, the benefit for North Texas is the outreach to increase awareness to North Texas cities is what NCTCOG provides. They also promote great building codes and annual energy use reporting, and coordinates avenues to gather feedback from the members to help identify any type of pressing energy management needs and prioritize the development of appropriate resources. So it is a wealth of information that you can obtain from being in conjunction and collaboration with NCTCOG. It also provides, such as this, free, convenient education and training opportunities to local governments. So I just wanted to highlight some of the benefits of NCTCOG and how SECO is really proud to be in partnership with them. As the technical assistance is part of local government energy programs, next slide, that SECO offers, another program is the City Efficiency Leaders Project. So if you guys are not aware, SECO also collaborates with the SECO leaders across Texas, and we work in partnership with SPEAR and HARC to coordinate ways and efforts to come up with ways to strengthen and tie the relationships amongst local governments involving the 6 largest cities, which Dallas and Fort Worth are a part of. So in this, as a result of this work and collaboration, there's best practices documents, which are through white papers to provide insights and ideas and information for cities. So it's another great program that SECO offers that you all can be involved in, and just to see and get the benefit of all the work, the great work that is being done, and especially to help in the growing cities of North Texas. Thank you very much. I'm going to pass it on to Fred, who is one of the engineers with SECO.
Good morning, everyone. This is Fred Yaber. I'm an engineer here with the State Energy Conservation Office. I want to echo what LeSean and John have mentioned, is that this work that we're doing, there's a number of programs that would not be possible with the help of Dorothy and the group there at North Central Texas Council of Governments, as well as the other partners that we work with SPEAR, HARC, the Houston Advanced Resource Consortium, and the ESL, the Energy Systems Laboratory at Texas A&M. I want to quickly just mention a couple of things regarding, one of them is the energy code. As you know, we have not updated the energy codes for the last 6 years. The last one was the 2015 IECC was adopted here in the state. effective September 2016. And so if you look at the health and safety code these days, it states that SECO can now, in this year, starting September 1st, look at the latest published edition of the IECC code, residential and commercial, and consider adopting the code throughout the state of Texas. So we are beginning that process. This fall, we're going to be asking through the Texas Register for public review comments of our office intent to adopt maybe the IECC 2021 for residential and commercial. And so, and it applies also for state agencies. State agencies, we were able to get the 2016 ASHRAE standard or the 2018 IECC. And so that's in place right now. And we'll be looking at the 2021 IECC for commercial buildings as well. The State Energy Office, our office, has also developed water conservation standards for state agencies and universities, institutions of higher education. And so those are in place right now. And so again, we will be going out and asking for public comment on updates to the energy codes, energy, water. And one new thing that we're going to be adding is sustainability guidelines, is looking at high performance building standards for state agencies. So that information is there. You could keep abreast of these things that are coming out here shortly. Make sure that you see on the lower right hand corner about us. You sign up to receive these notices, these updates that we are working on, these initiatives that we're working on. This is, if you have not visited this website, this is our home SECO homepage, and where you could see the various number of other programs that we provide. I provide support to as well. Energy codes being one of them, and we're looking at training and adopting the new codes, energy and water. But we're also want to point out the other thing is energy reporting. That is another requirement that is in the health and safety code for local governments, state agencies, universities, county governments. All of these entities are required to report their energy consumption to our office, establish goals to reduce energy consumption by 5% over the next 7 years. And so visit this website and look under energy reporting. Because there's reporting requirements for, again, state agencies and institutions of higher education, local governments, energy reporting, even publicly owned utilities, municipal electric utilities, electric co-ops. We've established what we call dashboards for compiling and maintaining these data. The data for energy consumption for city, counties, state agencies. And so you could visit the website, go to, and say for local governments, you could go there and you can view, I forget how many it is. It's a whole bunch of cities and counties, state agencies that have reported their energy consumption for 2020. So now we're going into the next year, and starting off, state agencies I want to remind state agencies that your energy consumption reports are due October 1st of this year. These reports are compiled, put together, and brought up to the Legislative Budget Office for review. And so For local governments, the deadline is February 1st, and you haven't received a notice, but heads up that the notice for the 2021 year energy reports will be coming up here shortly. So, and the same thing goes for utilities as well. So, so here's just again the recap of the programs. Visit the website, and there's information as to how you can contact LaShawn, John, myself, Eddie on these programs. So I think that's about it for me. Denise?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Denise Brooks, and I'm just going to give you a really quick overview of what I manage here at SECO. My program is totally different from everything else you've heard today. We get 2 federal grants from the U.S. Department of Energy for programs having to do with the defense of the country. One of the facilities that we host in the state of Texas is called the Pantex plant, and it's out near Amarillo. And at that facility, they actually assemble and disassemble nuclear weapons. And it's the only facility of its kind in the nation. And so we get funding from DOE to help with environmental oversight of that facility and to help with emergency planning for all the communities surrounding that facility. So that does not affect you, but the other program that I manage is called the Waste Isolation Pilot Plant Program. And this program is for waste that is shipped across our state that's en route to the WIP facility that is near Carlsbad, New Mexico. This waste is from all the nuclear weapons production across the United States under the DOE. And these shipments, as you can see in the bottom right, that is a picture of one of these shipments, what it looks like. There are different containers, but this is the most popular, most commonly used one. And these shipments contain, like I said, it's defense transuranic waste, things like rags, tools, that type of thing that were used in the making of nuclear weapons. So this is all en route to Carlsbad, New Mexico. We receive funding from the Department of Energy to go out and provide training to all the communities along the route so that we would know how to respond should any of these shipments be involved in an incident, an accident of some kind, especially a traffic accident. We contract with the Department of State Health Services, and they go out and provide training all along the route, first responder training. And then we also have a contract with the Texas Division of Emergency Management. And what they do is they go to all these WIP communities and help them with emergency planning. They also monitor these shipments as they cross our state so that they can respond should the shipment be involved in an incident. And just so you're aware, we do have training, and this program's been going on since 1998, by the way. And over this time, we have done training and exercises all across the state to include Dallas County, Tarrant County, Erath, Kaufman, Palo Pinto, Parker County. So we have been in your region for many, many years. I don't know if you're aware of it, but we do work with your emergency response people and your emergency managers. And that's all I have.
Wonderful. Wow, that was amazing and so informative. And thank you all so much. I think we have a couple of questions in the chat, so I will go ahead and kind of throw some out. So the first one, I believe, relates to you, Fred. Is there a codes standard for colleges and universities in the state, if you happen to know that?
Yes, the current standard. What I was saying is that the current code is the 2015 International Energy Conservation Code. And that's in place for commercial buildings in the state, and that's the state code for state agencies as well. We will be looking at the 2021 code coming up shortly. And so if you have not gotten a chance to see the International Code Council publishes publicly advertises and shows these codes, and I can show you how you can get access to those codes as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fred. All righty. And I did post that in the chat just for clarification. And then I do see we have a question from you, Kathy. So yes, for SECO staff. So since the turnaround for the recent LED lighting grants and the EV charging stations was pretty quick, will there be potentially another call for projects, and particularly for that fleet EV charging station funding? I'm not sure if
So that one,
yes.
that one comes to me. There is a potential for it, but we don't have anything planned for the near future. Right now, what we want to do is implement all of these projects and make sure that they're successfully completed. And as we get to the end of that cycle, then we would start, looking to see if that's an opportunity that should present itself again.
But Eddie, real quick, TCEQ still has their program, don't they?
Yeah, the EV, the Volkswagen Fund is still available. And if you look up I think it's Google Volkswagen Settlement Funds, TCEQ, and it'll take you right to the TCEQ website. And their program also is for EV chargers, but that one, theirs includes public facing. Ours did not include public facing for this cycle.
Clarification. I'm going to go ahead and post that in the chat so everyone can definitely go check those out. Definitely want to be able to get as much of those charging stations in Texas funded. So, okay, wonderful. Great question, Kathy. Okay, if does anyone else? Bauman, I see you're off mute, so I didn't know if you had a question or if there was anything you wanted to if not, no worries.
That's okay. This is Bauman. I had a question a long time ago. There was a City of Laredo wastewater treatment plant that was presented, and it had basically a $530,000 loan and $118,000 savings, but it showed 9.5 year payback, and I was wondering why that was.
This is Salim. I think, Bauman, you're referring to the other slide that Chris presented. The city of Laredo had $1,159,000 with 6.5 year payback. So I think Chris might be able to answer that. And I think what Chris explained was that they had a larger loan amount, but ultimately they had used less funds, basically. And maybe that's the reason, but I'll let Chris answer that.
That is correct. During the preliminary energy audit, we identified a few more measures than the city wanted to undertake when they actually went to move into the Lone Star program. And the numbers that you saw in there were based on that original report. They ultimately ended up implementing primarily just a lighting only project with a few controls. And the project was less than $225,000 with a 9 year payback.
Wonderful. Great clarification. All righty. So, and there is just one thing I wanted to note for clarification that was brought up. So just to confirm and share with you all, TZ, ESA, Jacobs, and ESL are all official partners with SECO and providers of that technical assistance and the PEAs. So just wanted to make sure we threw them all out there and everyone was aware. Does anyone else have any other questions or thoughts? I see Eddie, you're off mute. So yes, any thoughts or comments?
Yeah, Noresco is also one of our vendors.
Noresco. Oh, thank you. Perfect. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So this was something that Salim had mentioned, but I just wanted to highlight because I think that it's an important thing to highlight, is that how having a PEA can be of use to you in terms of applying for grant funding in different grant opportunities out there and can play a role in that. So I thought that was a really good point to highlight, especially because I know grant funding is definitely something we want as many of our local governments and entities to take advantage of, and having a PEA in your back pocket is also just a great thing to have in general, but just wanted to make that connection there. Yeah, I think this was absolutely wonderful, and I hope everyone kind of comes out of this webinar more informed and feels comfortable and confident about what programs are out there, the technical assistance that SECO offers, and having a little bit more of an understanding of the timeline of things if you were to apply for a preliminary energy assessment. I think that helped me understand. I thought, for some reason, I thought a PEA would take much longer than 6 weeks to 90 days. So that was really good to know that it's actually a pretty short time there. And just wanted to make sure everyone knew that these no-cost resources and programs are out there, and we would love for as many entities, not only in our region, but statewide, to really take advantage of them. And again, if there are any questions, all of SECO's contact information is here, and I am more than happy to follow up. And all of the presentations will be posted along with the webinar recording on our Conserve North Texas website. But Salim's contact information, and while Jim Brown wasn't here today, and Chris was in for him, I'm more than happy to, Chris, if you want me to share your contact information as well, I'm happy to do that in my follow-up email. Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm happy everyone could hop on today, and thank you for the great questions. And I look forward to seeing you all again on a future webinar workshop training that we have in the future. And do not hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns. And yes, I hope everyone has a great rest of their Thursday. Thank you to our presenters. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you for taking this step and making this opportunity available.
Absolutely. Thank you all for taking the time to share about all of your opportunities. It was fabulous.